Welcome to Digital Nation, your regular roundup of the best of local TV. And here at Digital Nation, we bring you the stories you don't usually see. From the heroic Morse code men in Glasgow to a real-life mermaid in a Leeds leisure pool. We also learn how to construct comfy cardboard beds in Birmingham and distill delicious, drinkable delights in Norwich. Loving local? Then let us know what you think by using the hashtag Digital Nation. First, we travel to Glasgow to discover a radio officers exhibition that's uncovering some incredible stories from a now historic profession. In this clip, we meet some brave veteran officers from the Merchant Navy who share their experiences of World War II and their exceptional knowledge of Morse code.
I'm Robert Armstrong. I was a former radio officer in the British Merchant Navy. As a small boy growing up in Glasgow, you could easily note the amount of shipping which was in the city. Where do these ships go to? What's it like to work on them? I want to do that. There was a time when the British Merchant Navy was certainly one of the largest in the world, and the position of the radio officer was an exceedingly important one on board ship.
I did train as a radio officer because my father had taught me Morse as a lad. Came at 17 years of age, and I understood then that the Merchant Navy were desperate for radio officers.
The purpose of the exhibition here is to educate the children and those who want to know something about the profession which is now obsolete.
I've even got the ship's clock. That's stiff. Very tight.
Oh yes, I can still remember it. It's amazing. The normal distress code was SOS. Everybody knows that one, because it's like riding a bicycle, you never forget.
What we've tried to simulate is a small piece of the equipment that we would have had in the radio room on board ship.
I need hardly say that in the emergency situations we had during the war, it was just vital, absolutely vital, because you could just disappear. As I nearly did actually on one trip, because you were the last link with help. And in many cases, the last man at the Morse key went down with the ship. Just all you had to do was leave it 5 minutes, 10 minutes late, and if you were a bit late, you wouldn't live.
Women are being encouraged to start careers in science, technology, engineering and maths. And WISE is a campaign to promote women in these developing industries. In this next item, we join That's Oxford as they interview young women working to become Britain's next generation of engineers.
Women only make up 12.8% of the workforce in science, technology, engineering and maths jobs. The Campaign for Women in Science and Engineering, known as WISE, hopes to change this. Culham Centre for Fusion Energy is just one of the places where young women have the opportunity to enter the world of engineering. Emily Spotton is a second-year apprentice and has recently received a prize from WISE.
It felt amazing that somebody had reviewed what I'd done just in my first year and what I could possibly go to do, and they thought that I was worthy of being supported to do all that, and it was a confidence boost to know that somebody believed in me. The scholarship that I won is a support mechanism for apprentices who are going through their apprenticeships currently. It's funding to help you with your studies and further studies you might want to take on, and you're also provided with a mentor to help you move your career in the direction you want to go in. It can be overwhelming because you definitely are in the minority, but everyone's really welcoming and you learn that there actually is a community of women on site. You just have to seek them out and make sure that you stay connected with them, but we are definitely in the minority.
We work on different placements around site, but for the last 6 months I've been over at MAST, which is the UK's fusion project, and I've been working on the upgrade there. I was in diagnostics for 3 months. I'm currently working assembling the upper cassette, which is part of the machine. It is a little bit daunting coming on site because it's kind of your first proper job, and it's very new, you're worried about getting lost, but the people here are lovely. It's a really nice environment to work in. It's good to encourage girls because a lot of girls think they can't do it because they're nervous about it being a male environment. So it's good to encourage those that want to do it, that they can do it.
Next, let's swim over to Leeds to meet a very specialised synchronised swimmer at the historic Bramley Baths. Lucy's team of aquatic acrobats are known as the mermaids, and for good reason, I might add. Intrigued? Well, let's take a dip with Made in Leeds and hear all about this unusual mermaid's tale.
Lucy, this looks so much fun. Unfortunately, I'm not waterproof, so I'm just going to perch on your towel. How did you get into doing this?
I was a synchronised swimmer when I was younger, back in the 90s, and I haven't done it for 20 years, basically, and this is my synchronised swimming debut. We got nicknamed the Mermaids a couple of years ago, and so we thought we really need to integrate some actual mermaid work into it. So we got some tails. We've got about 3 tails now, and we use them sometimes in our classes.
Tell us a bit more about mermaid tails. Literally, that is the mermaid tail, but it's more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also a kind of a history project based around Bramley Baths and the people that used to swim here back in the 1950s. So we've been like interviewing people for oral history kind of thing, and we're going to use their stories as like a stimulus for the show.
How does the mermaid tail, the literal mermaid tail, fit in with that?
Well, it's a bit of a cross between reality and fiction. So there's a bit of an artistic license with the histories being mixed in with the kind of myths about mermaids, and I just like wearing a tail.
Take some juniper berries, coriander seeds, a special mix of age-old botanicals mixed together, and what do you get? You guessed it, gin. Well, in this next clip, we travel to a city that's not brewed this quintessentially British beverage for over 150 years. That is, until now. Mustard TV has a story.
It's a practice that's been missing from our city for 150 years. But now gin is making a comeback, and it's once again being distilled in Norwich. The still is based at the newly refurbished 10 Bells pub. It's the idea of 3 friends with a passion for the spirit and the culmination of 12 months of their hard work, all to give the people of Norwich a unique gin experience.
It's definitely not been a quick process. Finding a piece of equipment, like the still itself, that come from Chicago. We're the first company in the country to have that. Sourcing the alcohol, sourcing the ingredients, finding the distiller that can produce the spirit. These were all hurdles.
There's a lot that goes into creating the flavours that makes Ballard's gin unique, and Peter Smith is the man that makes it happen.
The first step in the process is that we add all the botanicals, so the juniper, the coriander, all the ingredients that produce all the great flavours, put them in the still overnight so the flavours soak in alcohol, ready for the distillation the day after, where we turn on the still and basically boil it all up, and it separates the alcohol from the water, bringing with it all the delicious flavours.
Queen Victoria might have been on the throne the last time gin was made in our city, but this is one pub getting that tradition burning in Norwich again.
Dementia affects many people, and at Digital Nation we salute any initiative that helps to improve the lives of sufferers. So in this next clip, we travel to Lancashire to meet a singing group that helps participants to relax, strengthen their memory and improve their cognition. Here's That's Lancashire to tell us more.
Inside these songbooks is a different kind of workout, one that's for the mind. Each week these seats are filled, and those with dementia along with their carers can flex their intellectual muscles through the power of song at Singing for the Brain sessions.
We can have people that, for different reasons, just won't open their mouths, can't open their mouths, and then a few weeks later we'll sing and they'll conduct and take over the session sometimes, and that's wonderful to see because they become so confident.
Hidden amongst all the fun are activities which build on the memory for song and music in the brain. Because even when memories are hard to retrieve, music is firmly fixed in the mind. At the helm of these sessions is former music teacher Jane.
I believe that the main thing when you're delivering any group is to connect with the people, and so in that way it's very similar to teaching children or young adults, because you're making that connection, and probably more so with people who have dementia. You really want to try and connect with them, and the music is just a vehicle to be able to do that. So in some ways it's very similar. The repertoire is going to be different because we're going to be using songs that tap into memories of our clients, songs from the 50s, 60s, and things that are familiar to them. So that's different as well.
In this space, the relationship of husband and wife is free to blossom once more.
So often a husband or a wife is a carer, but here they can revert back to a husband or wife and share this lovely experience. They can be as they were, and when you look around the room, they're who they were again.
It's so brilliant to see the change in people, really. I think the music is a therapy, and it makes a difference.
That's all we can squeeze into part one. But before the break, it's quiz time. William Gladstone, Wayne Rooney and Edwina Currie were all born in which UK city? Was it A, Manchester, B, Sheffield, or C, Liverpool? Join us in part two for the answer. Welcome back to Digital Nation. Before the break, we asked you, William Gladstone, Wayne Rooney and Edwina Currie were all born in which UK city? And the answer was C, Liverpool. The former Prime Minister, Manchester United striker and ex-MP share the same city as the Beatles for their birth. Over to Edinburgh now to meet Donald, who, following serving as a soldier in the Falklands War, sadly suffered the debilitating effects of post-traumatic stress disorder. Things were looking very bleak until Donald met Biggles, the supportive dog who has helped him overcome the challenges of combat stress.
I suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder for the Falklands War, and I didn't know I had it. And 16 years after it, I just flipped. I took a breakdown and had to go and see a psychiatrist and got put into combat stress. And got hypnotised and a lot of sessions. And then it got to a stage I wouldn't go out. I was feared to leave the house, because every time I left the house I got into trouble. People looked at me, I'd start shouting, "What are you looking at? I'll kill you." You know. Had a safe area, I didn't want to leave it. So we went to Seafield, got Biggles, changed my life, and then he got trained by a company to support me. One of his main jobs is he runs up to you with a ball to get me to socialise. My safe area, as you call it, got bigger and bigger, and then I started working here at Poppy Scotland.
He does not take his eyes off you.
Watches me everywhere, follows me everywhere.
He's very protective of you, that's quite clear to see. How has that helped you over the last few years?
It's helped me a lot, because otherwise I wouldn't be working here, because I wouldn't be going out. I tried to commit suicide a couple of times. That doesn't even enter my head anymore. I've got closer to my family, because when you've got post-traumatic stress, you lose interest in everybody, even yourself.
So tell me what life is like now, because you're obviously, for your story, you're a changed man. It's all good. But what is life like now with Biggles?
Life's brilliant now. You know, I go out and I'll talk to people, but before I wouldn't. If any guys are feeling down in the dumps and they don't know what's wrong, or even with family, the family needs to tell them. because they won't know. Go and see somebody. Don't hide away from it. Your pride doesn't come into you, because you'll lose everything, and there's no such a word as you're mental or you're off your heat. You know, because you're not. You're just ill.
Next, we head to Eastwood in Nottingham to meet Claire, who has found a creative way to tackle her panic attacks. Colouring books have always been a favourite way for children to pass the time and have a bit of fun. But now, a growing trend for adult colouring books has revealed some newfound mental health benefits.
Colouring is an activity we tend to associate with children. As we grow older, we move aside from our crayons, but colouring books for adults have become a growing craze and may have more benefits than people think.
I suffer from panic attacks and anxiety disorder, and I was having a panic attack this one particular day, and anybody who's had one knows how bad they are. And you just want to escape your head for a little bit, and I was thinking, how can I distract myself from this? So I spotted one of my son's colouring books, and I thought, if I can just concentrate on filling in the gaps just for 20 minutes while this eases down, it might help me get through it instead of being stuck in my own head. So I did, and it did. The panic lessened right down, and I was just concentrating and focusing on what I was doing.
Colouring is a form of therapeutic art and is often confused with art therapy, a way of communicating through art mediums like modelling, painting and collage.
If you think of your brain as left brain and right brain, the left brain's for thinking and the right brain's your creative brain. So when you're doing something like colouring, the thinking kind of goes offline for a bit. So it allows you to just be creative and not think as much about what might be driving your underlying negative thoughts and feelings and depressions, stresses.
It's something I do every day. I use it as a meditative tool. So whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, I will sit there and I will sort of get myself in the present moment rather than thinking, what am I going to do tomorrow? What have I got to do? Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I think it has changed my life, because I know also that I've got that safety net there for when I have panic attack. I can just get a book out and I know I can concentrate on that and help it to go away.
Homelessness and rough sleeping is sadly a feature of all cities in the UK today. But a simple and neat invention in Wolverhampton is helping raise rough sleepers above the cold ground. In this next item, we meet the hard-working inventor to hear how he is attempting to tackle the issue head-on.
11 pieces of strong card, plastic bags and a few sheets. That's all that's needed to make a significant difference to rough sleepers.
It's all about how it all slots together so that it creates a stable and strong bed that can be disassembled and put away by the homeless people during the day. And then they've got somewhere that's going to get them off the cold ground and provide a much better night's sleep for them.
With nowhere to go, the number of rough sleepers across the West Midlands is on the rise, meaning more and more people are being forced to endure the harsh reality of being homeless. So far, around 12 beds have been handed out in Wolverhampton, but for Elliot, this is just the beginning.
So the whole point is that this is a solution to the cold, the illnesses, the discomfort of sleeping on the ground. But what I want is that for this is going to lead on to possible further development. We can start, hooking up with different organisations and so on, so that we can really start to look at how we can start housing people more efficiently.
Whilst Elliot's creation started out here in Wolverhampton, he has his sights set on the beds being of use a little further afield.
There's no reason why they can't be made everywhere, all over the world as well, for refugees too.
With the card beds being the first invention of its kind, it'll be interesting to see what other solutions spring up as the country continues to tackle its long-standing problems with homelessness.
What comes to mind when you think of prison food? Canteen trays, cold porridge? Well, it's time to think again. The Clink in Cardiff Prison serves up delicious restaurant meals to the public, and the culinary outlet is run by the prisoners themselves, aiming to improve their lives and their future job prospects.
Now, you are the maitre d', but you just said front of house, but you are the maitre d', aren't you?
Yes,
here at the Clink. First of all, what is your background? How did you end up as a customer of Her Majesty's government?
Well, I've lived on my own since I was 15, met my partner when I was 16, been on benefits most of my life. Where I left school with no GCSEs, I thought myself as unemployable. Got into the wrong crowd, ended up selling some drugs, got caught, got given a 4-year sentence for the first time being arrested, so...
We can look at the good news side of it. You did find yourself here, now front of house in the Clink. That must be a great experience for you, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Also, I've gained a level 2 MVQ in food, beverages and customer service. So I would never have got that if I wouldn't have been here.
What's it like working here?
Oh, it's brilliant. I love it. Yeah.
And you get to deal with the public.
Yeah.
You're obviously very engaging. You had a proper chat. You've made me a cuppa the second I walked in as well. That was nice. Thank you very much. So,
right.
What do you enjoy about the job?
Meeting new people and talking to people and just the people here as well. It's a good lot of people. The staff are brilliant and don't mind helping you and stuff. So, yeah, it's a good little family unit down here.
What's the plan for the future?
Hopefully get a job and be able to fend for my partner and son the way I want to and be able to take them on the holidays abroad and stuff like that and have things that I never had before.
Brilliant. Well, you got the Clink on your CV, mate. You're going to be laughing, aren't you?
That's it, yes.
That's brilliant.
It's time to check out more colossal creativity in Creative Kingdom.
If you're looking for the homeland of fizzy drinks, you need to go to Leeds and a pop idol priest from Batley called Joseph Priestley. In 1772, he got properly obsessive about carbon dioxide and took samples of it from a Leeds brewery. One day, he decided to suspend a bowl of water above a beer vat and discovered carbonated water. He thought it would be a good cure for scurvy, so he gave some to Captain Cook to take on a voyage. But it became really popular when a certain Swiss company nicked his findings and sold their own bottled soda water. Shh, you know who. Because when it comes to innovation, creativity, and getting busy with the fizzy, it leads a mint.
What would you say about the way the UK is run if you got the chance to be on the telly? Well, Bay TV Liverpool asked some key questions to a group of primary school children, and let me tell you, their answers were very astute. Check out this bunch of political potentials as they put the country to rights.
Make sure every kid has to go to a school and get their proper education, stuff like that.
And that he's been changing the SATs that we know, making them harder. Give people a home.
Yeah. It's like you go in town, there's 10 or 20 people just on the street, no homes.
I'll save up all my money to hire these two. Get a flat screen TV in my house, loads of games, just free pizza.
Not to talk rudely to people and not to be racist.
No homework. Or no lessons. Just like 1 or 2 weeks of fun. And stop war. Yeah. Yeah. No. If I was Prime Minister, I don't mind being the Prime Minister, but it's not something that I want to do.
I would like to work in Parliament, and if I did, I would let people have the right pay and not let people live on the streets.
And that completes our compilation of the best of local. If our clips have inspired you, then don't forget there's more you can see on each of the local TV channels' websites. Or why not catch up on previous episodes of the show by visiting bbc.co.uk/Digital Nation. Until next week, goodbye.